The early 20th century in America was a period of dramatic change. Technological advancements and economic growth were accompanied by a rise in social unrest and organized crime. Gangsters like John Dillinger dominated the headlines, their brazen crimes eroding public trust in law enforcement. It was in this turbulent climate that a young and ambitious lawyer named J. Edgar Hoover emerged as a figure of consequence. J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI, a legacy of light and shadow. Chapter 1. The Rise of an Icon. J. Edgar Hoover wasn't born destined to lead the FBI. He began his career in a modest role as a file reviewer at the Library of Congress. This seemingly mundane position, however, sparked a passion for organization and detail that would become a hallmark of his leadership style. However, his ambition and sharp legal mind propelled him towards a different path. Driven by a thirst for knowledge, he enrolled in night classes at George Washington University Law School, eventually earning both his bachelor's and master's degrees in law. Hoover's dedication and meticulous attention to detail did not go unnoticed. His skills caught the attention of the Department of Justice, where he quickly rose through the ranks. He impressed his superiors with his work ethic and his talent for investigation. His early successes in uncovering wartime espionage and domestic radicalism established him as a rising star within the department. By 1924, the Bureau of Investigation, BOI, was in a state of disarray. Low morale, outdated methods, and accusations of political corruption plagued the agency. President Calvin Coolidge, seeking a leader with a proven track record and a vision for reform, turned to J. Edgar Hoover. Hoover's background in law, his investigative experience, and his reputation for efficiency made him the ideal candidate to transform the BOI into a symbol of professionalism and effectiveness. Hoover professionalized the FBI by establishing a training academy and implementing stricter hiring practices. He also recognized the power of public image. He cultivated a new generation of FBI agents, clean-cut, college-educated men who embodied the ideals of law and order. He actively courted Hollywood, ensuring the FBI was portrayed favorably in films and popular culture. These efforts significantly bolstered the FBI's image. Hoover also achieved success in combating crime. He led high-profile raids against notorious outlaws like John Dillinger and Machine Gun Kelly, capturing the public's imagination and solidifying the FBI's reputation as a powerful crime-fighting force. The passage of the Lindbergh Law in 1932, granting the FBI national jurisdiction over kidnapping cases, further strengthened the Bureau's authority. Chapter 2. The Shadowed Facade. J. Edgar Hoover's reign as FBI director spanned over 4 decades, a period marked by both innovation and controversy. While his early successes in modernizing the FBI were undeniable, his leadership style and methods raised concerns. Hoover's unwavering belief in the righteousness of his cause, coupled with his thirst for power, led him down a path of questionable tactics. He amassed a vast collection of confidential information on numerous individuals, including presidents, politicians, and critics. Historians believe Hoover may have used this information for political purposes, stockpiling confidential files on presidents, politicians, and critics like Martin Luther King Jr. These files potentially allowed Hoover to influence agendas or embarrass opponents, raising ethical questions about the FBI's role. Hoover's approach to law enforcement was also inconsistent. While he relentlessly pursued leftist groups and activists, often employing tactics that bordered on the illegal, he remained relatively inactive in tackling organized crime until the 1950s. Even then, his focus primarily targeted figures like Al Capone, neglecting the growing narcotics trade. The rise of communism during the Cold War likely influenced his prioritization of leftist threats. However, this inconsistency in focus raised questions about the FBI's effectiveness in combating all forms of crime. Additionally, Hoover's handling of President John F. Kennedy's assassination in 1963 remains a source of intense debate. The FBI, under Hoover's direction, quickly concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. Critics argue this swift conclusion may have hampered a thorough investigation, potentially overlooking other possibilities. The FBI's focus on Oswald's communist links also raised concerns that other avenues were neglected. Limited information sharing with other investigative bodies and the public, fueled by visuals depicting news reports questioning the investigation, further fueled speculation about a potential cover-up. Hoover's history of using the FBI for personal agendas further fueled these suspicions. The Warren Commission, established to investigate the assassination, ultimately supported the lone gunman theory presented by the FBI. However, public doubts persisted, and the lack of a definitive answer continued to spark conspiracy theories and cast a shadow over Hoover's legacy. Chapter 3. The Legacy Unraveled. As public scrutiny intensified in the 1960s and 1970s, the cracks in Hoover's legacy began to show. His relentless pursuit of leftist groups and activists, often employing tactics that violated civil liberties, sparked outrage. The FBI's COINTELPRO programs, aimed at disrupting and discrediting political opponents, became a stain on the Bureau's reputation when they were exposed in the early 1970s. COINTELPRO involved a series of covert operations, including infiltration, disinformation campaigns, and even violence, targeting groups like the Black Panthers, the anti-war movement, and civil rights organizations led by Martin Luther King Jr. These tactics, exceeding legal boundaries and infringing on First Amendment rights, eroded public trust in the FBI and exposed the dark side of Hoover's leadership. Hoover's vendetta against Martin Luther King Jr. further tarnished his legacy. He authorized the FBI to collect information on King, including through illegal wiretaps, and even sent King an anonymous letter urging him to commit suicide. These actions exposed Hoover's willingness to weaponize the FBI for personal and political agendas. Despite his undeniable successes in modernizing the FBI and establishing a national database of criminals, Hoover's legacy remains complex and contested. His use of surveillance and his targeting of political dissidents continue to spark outrage. However, Hoover's legacy cannot be reduced to solely his controversial tactics. He inherited a scandal-ridden bureau and transformed it into a powerful force in law enforcement. He modernized the FBI's methods, established a training academy, and professionalized the workforce. His leadership also coincided with several high-profile successes in capturing notorious criminals. The challenge lies in acknowledging both the advancements made under Hoover's leadership and the concerning methods he employed. His unwavering belief in certain ideologies and his thirst for power ultimately led him down a path that eroded public trust in the FBI. Following Hoover's death in 1972, the FBI underwent significant reforms. Increased oversight and stricter guidelines were implemented to ensure the Bureau operates within the bounds of the law. One key example is the creation of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, FISC, in 1978. This court oversees government requests for surveillance warrants aimed at foreign intelligence targets, helping to ensure a legal check on FBI activities. The FBI, having grappled with the complexities of its past, continues to strive to uphold the law and protect the American people. Conclusion. J. Edgar Hoover's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of a strong legal framework to guide law enforcement. His legacy remains a topic of debate, a reminder of the constant tension between security and liberty in a democratic society. The ongoing conversation about Hoover reflects our continued efforts to define the role of law enforcement in a nation that values both justice and freedom. From the complexities of J. Edgar Hoover's legacy, we turn our gaze to another powerful figure who shaped the course of history. Golda Meir, the Iron Lady of Israel, rose from humble beginnings to lead a nation through its most challenging times. How did this remarkable woman navigate the complexities of international politics and become a symbol of resilience? Join us in the next episode of Origin Unveiled as we explore the extraordinary life of Golda Meir,